Hey everyone, I'm Anna Snow, and thank you so much for joining me today on blazeradioonline.com. Today I'm joined by Jame Minogue.
Hello.
So you just had a song come out this past weekend called Santiago. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and like your process and with this song?
Yeah. So that song it's pretty much like a compilation of like different events in my life with like relationships. I just combine like experiences from different relationships and made them into one song. Um, it was funny because if you listen to the lyrics of the song, like there's so many problematic like scenarios, and like I had a couple friends text me and be like, "Hey, are you and Cammy okay?" Cammy's my girlfriend. She also directed the video. But I was like, "Yeah, we're fine. Like these are like old stories." But basically, um I guess, so Cammy and I did go to Santiago in the Dominican Republic. That's where my family's from, my Dominican side at least. And we were chilling in Santiago, as the song goes. And we were just having the best time. Everything was great, you know, cocktails, blah blah blah. Um, so that was a perfect time, and I just borrowed that to kind of paint like the positive stories in the song. Um, and then like all the like kind of negative, chaotic parts, or from like a past relationship where um it's kind of like scandalous. The person was dating someone, and didn't know, and they were like kind of talking with me, and we were hanging out, and you know, the name Jonathan is like a real person. And they'll probably never see this. Uh, I'm from like such a small place, but all that's real, and like seven messages from Jonathan asking where you've been, like that's real. Um, I won't confirm nor deny if the name Jonathan is the legitimate name. Um, it might be, but not in that specific scenario. So I've twisted a lot of things so that, you know, if it hits too close to home, there's still a lot of confusion. Um, but yeah, like all that really happened. Like I was hanging out with someone, and these messages popped up, and I was like, what? And like kind of just the chaotic of like the other person being so chaotic, and me being like, okay, I don't really think this is gonna last. Um, that's all real. So it's fun to kind of like go back and pull those really crazy things that you don't really think about until there's an opportunity to put it in a song. So, and I've been through a lot of weird, crazy things, like especially like in high school and middle school and stuff. So I'm probably gonna keep writing about that stuff because it's fun.
Yeah, and I love like that your song it like comes from real experience. I think it makes the song more real. It adds, to it. I think that that's really great. So you also just got a record deal, which is so exciting. So do you want to talk about that and maybe a little bit like the future and where you think things are going to go with that?
Yeah. So that was really cool. It happened a few months ago. The CEO is this guy. His name is Charles Chavez. He has done like so many cool things in the industry. He used to manage like Pitbull, and like he facilitated a lot of like big hits and stuff. So I remember getting this email from him, and right off the bat, not knowing who he was. So then I called Blaine. I'm like, hey, I got this email. Like, it's very short. Which do I take this call? And then he like does some Googling, and he's like, hey, you got to take that call. So I'm like, oh God, all right. So I take the call at a furniture store, because me and Kimmy were moving into our apartment, and the big furniture store in California is called Living Spaces. So like I'm just in the middle of Living Spaces, just on the phone taking this call. And yeah, it was really cool. I got to go check out like the office, and um it was just this whole experience, and they took me on for, a certain number of songs, and we're just trying a lot of like cool things out. So Santiago is my third song under this whole like setup. So yeah, it's cool. I'm looking forward to the future. And it's all like a new experience for me because I came from like making music like in so many bedrooms and just from like the tiniest little town. So it's a change for sure.
Yeah, definitely, but very exciting change. So I did want to ask a little bit, like you obviously were releasing music during like COVID and the pandemic. Do you think that that has like affected like any of like your like trajectory or future with anything? Like, do you think like, because obviously like performing and things coming back, like, do you think it has like, do you think there's like a long-term effect of making
Of
music?
the pandemic.
Mhm.
Um, hmm. Yes and no. I think so. One of the hardest things for me was like finding inspiration to make music during the pandemic. Well, we're still in the pandemic, but like during like the very worst parts, especially the beginning when we had no vaccines or anything like that. Um, yeah, like I write all my music based on places and like things I see. Just like I'm a really visual person, so if I go somewhere cool, the scenery is what will inspire me, and I'll go write a song. But when I was just home every day, like I had nothing like that to inspire me. I did put out a few songs during that time. Um, but yeah, and we did make some like cool music videos and stuff, but yeah, the whole time just felt like I was just like, okay, like where are we going? Like what are we doing? Um, Another challenge was I played my first show a couple months ago, and it was like learning how to ride a bike. Like it had been so long and it felt weird, and I was super nervous and all this stuff. And it's like I've just been home playing Sims for like a year. Just like it got crazy with the Sims. Like I made it last like four family generations, and very accomplished Sims player. So that's something I can always go back to if all else fails.
Just play Sims forever.
Yeah, just play Sims. If this life doesn't work out, then I'll make that life work out.
So obviously like music is your career and it's what you love, but I was interested, what are some of your other like hobbies or interests?
Um, I Yeah, there's quite a few. I don't know if they're silly or not. Well, I
Besides
love cooking. What's up?
besides The Sims, obviously.
Besides The Sims, sheesh, cooking. I love cooking. I'm obsessed with cooking new things. I'm obsessed with finding new restaurants. So eating. Um, I love, I love that. I love like cocktail making. I used to love playing soccer, but it's been a few years now. Ever since I moved to LA, like there's no one to play soccer with. Everyone's too busy. And, yeah, what else do I do? I like running. Um, so I guess running, cooking, and eating. Um, there has to be other things I do with my life. Probably not.
It's okay.
I'm, yeah.
William said Jeopardy.
Jeopardy. Okay, well, that's rough. That's a rough answer.
um,
Yeah, I'm bad at video games though. That's terrible at video games, but we're trying to take the step and buy a Switch. We'll see.
so as like a musician, you obviously have a lot of like influences and people you grew up listening to and stuff. So I wanted to ask, like, who are some of your biggest influences?
Biggest influences, um, Earth, Wind and Fire, Michael Jackson, um, the Eagles, strangely enough. I sound nothing like that, but um, that was like the first time I ever learned how to play music, and my first instrument is drums, so I would just play to the Eagles, My Chemical Romance, Queen, um, yeah, just like a lot of very kind of dramatic artists, a lot of classic artists, Led Zeppelin, just a huge range. And on the Latin side, like I love Juan Luis Guerra. He's a Dominican, just sensational artist who he does like the genre. It's called bachata. It's a Dominican genre, and that's like become really popular. So I grew up around that a lot. So yeah, that all that stuff's like influenced me a lot.
Yeah, that's all great artists that you picked there. And,
Yeah, and the Backyardigans.
oh, of course, naturally. Um,
Yeah.
and so you did mention, you have, like Latin influences and your, songs do have a lot of, Spanish like phrases and words and things in them. Um,
Hmm.
so is there ever like a process for you with like integrating like the Spanish and the English in your songs, or just kind of how it feels for each like individual song?
Um, yeah, I mean it's kind of natural at this point because my dad's Irish, my mom's Dominican. They speak Spanish to each other, um, and their story is very cute. Like my dad went to school, learned Spanish to like be with my mom. But basically, I grew up in a house where like I was speaking Spanish to my mom and English to my dad all the time. So it was just like both at all times. At the dinner table, I'm just like communicating in two languages. So um, at one point, a couple of years ago, I decided to like use that because it's the way my brain, that voice in your brain that's just always there when you hear yourself talk. I think that's the weirdest thing actually, that like you can hear your own voice in your brain. Anyway, um my brain voice is speaking in both languages all the time. So yeah, I guess before I was just scared. Like I used to be in a band before what I do now, and I used to want to dabble in that, but like I used to be scared and self-conscious about it just because I don't know, I was shy, I guess. But yeah, this I feel like this is like my actual full self. It's my stream of consciousness just going into my music at this point.
Yeah, that makes,
So
and I definitely think it like adds to the music because if you're thinking in both languages, like why would the music not be in both? Like it makes sense.
right, yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, those are all my questions for you. If anyone's interested, it's Jame Minogue on Apple Music, Spotify, anywhere they want to find you, right?
Yeah, anywhere. Jame Minogue. James without the S.
Yes, James without the S.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming here on blazeradioonline.com.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure and an honor.
That's on you, not on me. We was chilling in Santiago.